Dr. Eddie Weller. I have just been on the fence on how to do this podcast. I'm going to be really honest with you. It's such a touchy subject, and I want to share some stories and how there was this evolution of this belief and this understanding. And so what are you talking about, Eddie? Well, let me share. You know when you go to a good restaurant, right? You just love it. You had a great meal. The restaurant was just awesome. It's like, holy cow, this was great. You just are really compelled to share it with others, right? You are. You're compelled to share it with people. And when you're compelled to share it with them, what does that do for them? Well, maybe it grows their business and maybe the reputation of the business and the food. People start talking about it, and people start talking about it, and people start talking about it, and people start talking about it. You see this web that happens just by one person sharing something? But what did that person, let's say me, I went to this restaurant. It was incredible, and I can so sell you on this restaurant because I loved it so much. It was great. It had this and that, and I'm teaching you and sharing all the features and benefits and all that fun stuff. But what do I have to gain? Me, the consumer like you. What do I have to gain? Nothing. I have nothing to gain. So why would I share it? Because it feels good to share the good. On the flip side, there's a lot of people that share a lot of yuck in the world. However, but what do I have to gain? And then it hit me. Because this recently happened with me. I'm a little bit of a foodie. I went out and I was telling some friends about this restaurant I went to. And then I'm driving home, and after the conversation, I'm like, wow, I gained nothing by sharing that. But it felt good to share it because I wanted them to experience the same experience that I had. And then it really hit me. Like, slap me in the face hit me. Just reality hit me hard. I was 20, how old was I? 1, 2, 3, 22, 23, 27, 8, 28 years old. Sorry, I had to do a little math there and kind of chronologically get this thing right. So I'm 28 years old. I've been a doctor now for 2 years. I was a doctor at 26. And I'm dating this woman, this Polish woman in Chicago. I mentioned Polish. Her ethnicity is actually a really big deal to this story, and that's why I brought it up. And so when I'm dating this woman, I got to know her and get to know her family, and I really got to know her mother. And her mother's name's Jolanta, so I got to know her, and we just had a really cool bond. And she's such a simple woman, and just like oozes love. It's crazy. And she just never gave up on me. And what I mean by that is I would think about, I love to debate. And I do. I love the debate, and especially when I'm feeling pretty strong about a certain belief. And so we go back and forth, but I also love hearing the other side. Because I'm not right, it's just my belief. And again, she had a belief. And so we would have these conversations. I would get philosophical, and she would get biblical. And I'm like, oh no, you're not like this holy roller thing, right? That's going to go crazy at me and all that fun stuff. And again, what you don't know, you mock. It's the truth in anything in life. And so here I am having a conversation with her. Yeah, but Eddie, in very broken English, but it was enough. I understand the mix of the Polish and the English. And I got it. And I saw her heart, and it was just like, she's looking at me, like looking through me. And she just goes, Eddie, here. And she hands me this book. And it's the New Testament. And I'm like, oh, goodness gracious, what are you doing to me, lady? And so I open it up, and one side is in Polish, and then the other side, the other page, is in English. And so I'm like, okay, I'll flip through it, right? Didn't really have that understanding then as I was growing into being a believer in Christ. I didn't really get it. I was not raised with church, and actually, I think that helped solidify my understanding of who I am today. But I thought, going back to the the restaurant. I was going back to the restaurant thing of like, what did she have to lose by sharing that with me? Nothing. And then it really hit me again, because I like it philosophical and seeing both sides of the thing. What did she have to gain? Like me sharing this story about the restaurant. Nothing. She had nothing. I'm like, holy cow, why is this woman pouring into me? It's not her heaven. Although, knowing what I know now, she belongs to it. because she's accepted Christ. And I'm going, okay, well, what does she have to gain? What was there to gain? Nothing. But yet she didn't give up on me because she had so much compassion for the opposite of you not going to heaven. It's dark, Eddie, and I don't want you there. That's how much I love you in my life. And that's how much I love you because I would love to spend eternity with you. That's what this woman did to me. And when I started to understand that, the brevity of it, and just going, wow, like she cares, but spiritually, like eternity caring. And it just, I froze. Because what do you say? No, I don't want to hear anymore. Oh, no, that's for you. Or why don't you go pray about it, Miss Holy One, right? And those kind of things. No, it wasn't like that at all. It was compassionate. It was a conversation that we had. And it led into a conversation that I would finally ask God in my life, going, know what? If you're real, show me. Just show me. In any way, shape, or form, just show me. And did he ever? And so it was just a beautiful, I felt it. And so as more and more things and people would come into my life, like, wow, that's coincidence. Wow, that I'm lucky. Wow, that's it. And then I start to realize, like, one, that's not a coincidence. Two, no, I'm not lucky. I'm fortunate. And now I'm understanding that my path in life is being illuminated by this Spirit because good is happening without me doing it. What is going on right now? And on the flip side, is there bad that's there? Sure. As I always say, if you want love in your life, God's going to give you a reason not to have any. So you know what it's like when you do have it. And then if you want patience in your life, God's going to give you a reason not to be. If you want happiness in your life, God's going to give you a reason what it feels like not having it. Ouch. Yeah. And it hurts and it stings. But again, when you lean on God, I didn't understand that until, again, I start flipping through the pages and this woman hands me this book and I still have it. What are we at right now? 23, 4, almost 25 years later, 6, 7 years later, here we are. And so I'm like, I've gone through the book. Now I've got several other books. And different versions of Scripture, and I teach it, and I share it, and I offer hope to people because I got it. It hit me, and hit me hard. Because she had nothing to gain, and she had nothing to lose. I did. And she cared enough. It was the good news. And I think when we let go of what we've been taught religiously, what we've been taught by our pain, what we've been taught by others per their own understandings and doctrine and what they have. But when we let go of it all and just go down, the path of simplicity of where life emanated from, where we can think about whatever as I always say, put fangs on the beast and fins on the fish and the wind in the air and the waves in the ocean created us. And this intelligence that travels in every single species thing in the world, as it created me. And I am here on this earth for a particular reason and time. I don't know why. As I learn, I'm doing what I do every day because this is what it feels right at this point in time. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. As I always say, I'll tell you when I get there. I'm just enjoying right now. It's part of this journey. Because at the end of the end, I'm not taking these clothes with me, and I'm not taking any of this stuff with me, because I came in the world with nothing, and of course we will leave with nothing. My hearse will not have a hitch. I don't even plan on having a hearse. And so, again, with all of those things, we have what? Like what? A relationship. That's it. We have relationship. And when you can have not a religion, but a relationship with our God, our God, there is one. There's one. And so that one God that created all, that knows all, that is all, as God titles it, the great I am. I am this for you, Eddie. I am all. And just like my sister in Christ, Yola, said to me that you are loved beyond you can ever measure. And I feel his love all of the time. And it brings tears to my eyes. And I didn't understand why would that bring tears to your eyes until I had my own tears to where it just hit me. And hit me. To where that's the only name that brings tears to people's eyes. You don't say any other, you don't say Muhammad. You don't say Buddha. You don't say Krishna. I don't care. Pick a deity that's out there, or a prophet, as they say, or people idolize these things. They don't bring tears to your eyes. They don't bring joy in your heart. They bring more fear of anything, or there's a respect level, sure. But to have the fear of God and the reverence of God, that our God's a jealous God. I was having that conversation with my son yesterday. We're listening, we're singing in the car. My son is way beyond his years. Just brilliant. It's just craziness. And so we would talk about these things, and he's like, why would God be jealous? I said, God's very jealous. And I didn't understand that, Liam. Like, why would God, does God have an ego? Why would God care? Why does God have jealous? Oh, no. This is what it was. And so I said, Liam, think on this. What if I was God? Let's just say I'm God, and I saw you idolizing something else outside of me, which means I want to have a relationship with you, Liam. I'm God, remember. I want to have a relationship with you. And when I have a relationship with you, I don't want you to idolize other things. I want you to be one with me. Because if you do those, idolize other things or focus on other things away from me, then I'm jealous of those things. I'm jealous of the car. Or I'm jealous of your golf clubs, let's say, right? I'm jealous of X, Y, Z, whatever that is. We all have our thing. And God's jealous of it. And I didn't understand that. I didn't get it at all until you just get convicted. And you just go, like, I got it. Like, I got it. And it hits you. It's kind of like when you see something on, online or TV, whatever, you can't unsee it. When you get convicted in your heart, you can't undo it. It's like in you. And you remember that memory, and maybe you steer away from it because we all slip in our understanding. We get caught in the world. But we have to lean and go back to where it all came from. That tear. That's something that just said, gosh, this feels so right. So there you are. You're in your car, you're in your cubicle, you're working out, you're waking up, you're going to bed. I don't care where you are right now, but there you are in your space, and nobody else in the world is in your space but you, as you are living in this thing called your body. It's yours. It's the only place we get to live. And as we have this body, we have a thought, and those thoughts create things. What are you thinking? Are you thinking good? Are you thinking not so good? Are you putting more servanthood, if you would, in your life with the gifts God's given you? Or are you taking, and consuming? Because we never get enough. I know some very, very, very monetarily, worldly, rich people that make an obscene amount of money that are very disconnected and broke. I do. And I know them very well, and I know them personally. And I would not trade an ounce of my life with theirs. I can't imagine that I can't have enough. There's not enough. Because again, we can't take it with us. And my friend, Yola, when she would talk about all of the different things, her push on me, the only thing she pushed on me, just one thing, love. She loved all over me. How do you reject that? Like, no species, how do you reject that? No species, you go up to any animal, and if your intention is to love and nurture and serve, it's felt. It's a frequency, it's felt. No different than if you're a taker and you're selfish and you want to hurt. That's felt. So what are you doing? How are you adding? How are you pursuing your being, your why? Because at the end, we're all going to talk about a restaurant. And we're all going to talk about the experience that we had on that vacation. Or that thing that we had, or the clothes that we have, or that one thing that we bought, or our house that we have, or our cars and stuff. But at the end, what really matters is we take others into our lives, and then we share the good news, just like Yola did with me. Because now I have hope. I do. Cinco de Mayo 2001, I don't know why it was just that day, I was with my friend Larry at a church that this woman, Monica, and I were at together. We got saved together. We got baptized together. Craziness. Gosh, I love her forever. She's just awesome. I'm a man because of her. It's another whole story. But in that process of learning of who I am and who I am today and where I came from, I do not want to go back to that guy because he was just not nice, full of ego, and not of God. very worldly, if you will. And so I don't want that in my life. I want good. I want faith in my life. Hence the shirt I'm wearing right now, right? And think about, I'm pretty bold in what I believe, because just like Yola, as she was bold in what she believed, she didn't do it to manipulate. Religion does that. She didn't do it to make me feel less than. She didn't. That's what ego and narcissistic, people do. She didn't do it to say, hey, you need to donate XYZ amount of money to really have this better relationship with God. Not at all. She did it out of love. And when she did it out of love, she let go of any reservation that she had for me and just said, hey, you can't take what I believe, Eddie, because I own it, because it's in my heart. And I have this relationship with Jesus. And when you understand that, I didn't get it. We used to, holy cow, full disclaimer, when we saw these kids, we didn't know who they were. They had this black book underneath their arm. They had a tie on. We're in like grade school in the city in Chicago. And they had a tie on, and they were like, come here, I want to talk to you. And they would freak us out. They'd totally freak us out. We learned it, of course, they're today Mormon missionaries. We didn't know, but the approach was poor. And I think that's the problem. When we're raised in a certain belief system, that's all we know, then steering away from that or maybe exploring something outside of that, we are not only looked down upon by our own, but we're frowned upon by our own. How dare you? Why would you do that? That's not what we believe in. No, this is what we are. Stop. Stop. Not being raised in any church or religion, none, zero, never. Open the door for not only one, for me to mock, because when you don't know, you mock, but two, more importantly, it opened the door to a possibility of a relationship I have with God that only I could have with me, because I can't have your relationship with God. That's between you and God. And so when I share the good news with people, and the good news is that there is hope here, that you don't have to own what's going on in our world, that you can let go of your yesterday's pain and get ready for tomorrow's pleasure when you make you second. That's it. When you can make you second, where not everything's about you, where you stand in his shadow and go, I'm going to follow you, Jesus. I don't know what this is about. As I always say, when I wake up, I don't know what you're up to today, but I want to be part of it. And if you want to show off, please use me. That's how I like to live my life. And in the midst of that, I get to play doctor at certain times of the week, or I get to serve, or I get to do life. I don't have to do life. I have to go to work. I have to go do this thing. I have to go do that. No, you don't. You get to. See, when you make that shift, that means I get to have a relationship with our Creator to where I can share it with other people. And when I share it with other people, what happens? Good. Good happens. Growth happens. Like sharing the good news about a meal you had at a restaurant. What do I have to gain? Nothing. What does the restaurant have to gain? Everything. It grows. And the business flourishes. No different than when I share the good news of Jesus Christ. I know that sounds so weird, but what do I have to gain? Nothing. But what do we have to gain? Eternity. To me, that's what it's about. So if you're on the fence, I don't care where you are at physically right now, I don't care what time of day it is, I want you to sit for 5 whole minutes. It's hard. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Literally shut your phone off, put it in another room, I don't care, and sit quiet in silence for 5 whole freaking minutes and go, and with a whisper, do it in a soft voice. You have to speak it, by the way. Don't just think it. You have to speak it. There is something that happens when there is a noise that leaves your mouth and you speak something into existence. It becomes real. How many times, your mother would say, oh, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. There's a reason why it has always been that way. There's a reason why that is, because when you speak it out, it's hard to take it back. So therefore, when you speak it out, can't take it back, remember? When you speak it out, what happens? Jesus, if you're real, come into my heart. Come into my life. Show me. Reveal yourself to me in any way you see fit. I am open to the opportunity of you. I don't know what that means. I don't know what to expect. I just know that I can't do the rest of my life alone. I want to do that with you. And if you choose to bless me in any way, shape, or form, I am willing to stand in your shadow, become second to you, because you are it for me. I know that I'm a sinner. I know that I cannot win my way into heaven, that the only way I can is because of what you've done for me on the cross. Folks, you have any idea how hard that was for me to say that? Not right now. Even hearing it again gives me the chills. But when I said it when I was 28 years old, with somebody who didn't have any relationship, I didn't know what it meant. And there were some things in my life that I didn't recognize when I was 29 and growing into 30. On my 30th birthday, I got baptized. Because that's when I wanted to show the world, this is where I'm walking from this day forward. It just so happens it was my birthday. I don't know if that was coincidental. I highly doubt it. And I got baptized on that day. And when I got baptized on that day, it was my way of showing the world, I'm no longer living as the old Eddie. I'm starting new. That's what born again means, by the way. Because you're just cleaning the slate. I'm starting over, and I'm doing it with him. Jesus. And when you do that, you start to let go of the expectation of others. You stop worrying what others say. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. You're like, You start to see life in a totally different way, where everything's going to be okay some way, somehow. And in the event it doesn't go your way here on earth, know that there is hope. That there's hope. Because as people leave the earth unexpectedly, or as people, something happens with an accident or sickness, or it's their time, whenever, I don't know when my time's going to be either. It's just your time. I get to go home. And I get to see not only ancestors, let's say, but I get to see others that have accepted Christ that I have no idea who they are. But I get to share home with them. And that's what I can't wait for. I can't wait. This isn't home. All of this stuff isn't home. It's a short window of time of what eternity looks like. And it's a short period of 60, 70, 80 years. If you're lucky, you're blessed enough, or even fortunate to be here that long. I know people that have passed that are a week old. I know people that have passed that are, several hours old. But then I know people that have passed in their hundreds. It doesn't matter. We all have a certain window of time. And if you don't have anything to lose by asking him into your life. And when you do, get ready. Because this wave, if you will, this tsunami of, oh my goodness gracious right now, of what's happening, you won't believe it. They'll have people come into your life that want to help you and serve you. There are people that come to your life that you'll recognize that are super toxic, and you need to remove them from your life. I've had plenty of those. I've had my life threatened over and over and over by certain things that I believe. So be it. God's got me. I have his protection, no doubt. No doubt. And so I sit and reflect right now on the lineage, if you would, of all the different people in my life. As I kind of grow. I remember I was in gross anatomy class. I did a podcast on this prior with this woman, Michelle, and she was 23. And I was 23, and we were in school together, and we're just doing our first dissection. And she had a faith like I've never seen before, ever. I grew up with religious people in Chicago. None of them ever shared the good news with me. Never. And so I had my hands in a cadaver, and this woman shared her faith with me just ever so slightly. It was just enough to plant the seed to make me wonder. And then that snowballed, and that snowballed, and that snowballed. And here I am today, following Christ since 2001. And that's when I got baptized and showed the world this is what it's about. Cinco de Mayo 2001, I accepted the Lord in my life, and it's been a ride, to say the least. So again, you have nothing to gain and nothing to lose by sharing. Heaven does. And if you're on the fence right now, and if you're stuck and you don't know where to go or how to go, nothing, you're just stuck, There's a really cool website. Of course, you can go all over online, right? GodTube instead of YouTube. You can go to GodTube. Very few people know of it. But also, you can go to iamsecond.com. I love this website, iamsecond.com. And it's really cool to see these either athletes or celebrities or all these different people now going, I can't do this alone. I'm a failure in so many different ways. I am now second. And that's who I am today. I choose to be second for the rest of my life. To him. To him. Think good things. I appreciate you allowing me to share. I know it's a heavy topic, but it's needed, and we all need it because our world is in chaos as it always has been, and it's going to get worse and worse as our world moves away from God. It's time for us to lean on God. So until then, think good things. Keep your head on straight. Keep getting weller. Have a great day.